Well, it turns out that life, even as an empty, drooling husk, is still full of surprises because not only am I still doing this shit, it turns out that there really is a living society out there watching this crap. Why you're choosing to waste your time doing so is beyond my understanding, but hey, I'm not complaining. All you're doing is making my job easier. If I'm to do this for an unspecified amount of time, I might as well make sure what comes out has some quality and have fun with it. Besides, I'm getting the creeping suspicion I'll be hearing from some of you if I fail to meet that imaginary quality standard. It's like having another set of bosses. Don't get any funny ideas in those thick skulls of yours. I'm doing this with what's left of my free time, and unless I somehow find myself getting paid to do this, I don't owe anyone a damn thing. I've got enough administrators breathing down my neck as is. So, this is how it's gonna work. I complete my assignments, you watch them, maybe enjoy it, hate it if you want. I make more, rinse, repeat. I don't get 50,000 volts, and you get something to help kill time. Deal? Deal. Follow the rule, and we'll get along just fine, I think. As you can no doubt tell from the title of this video, the topic is going to be a little different from last time. Instead of talking about a guy who made hell his bitch, we're going to be covering a game where your world is invaded by a little green spaceman.
I am not green.
Fine. Red. This is Destroy All Humans. Here's a neat little fun fact for you. This feisty ball of unbridled aggression was the second game I had ever experienced. Fitting, isn't it? Administrator 22 handed me a list the moment I was allowed to interact with what they call a physical entertainment device. On that list was an astronomical selection of titles, but out of all the games I remember seeing, I could only pick 5. I trust that your brain hasn't begun to rot since the last video, and assume you already know which was my first pick. Right off the bat, this game immediately does something right. The title. Destroy All Humans. It's even got an exclamation mark. That's how you know this game means business. It's so straightforward that you know exactly what you're getting yourself into. Oh, just thinking about all the shit you can do is igniting my passion for violence. But I better calm down before I get too excited. The administration's already regretting their decision in allowing me to use this game as my current topic. I don't want to draw their ire and prevent me from coming back.
When do I get to blow things up?
The gameplay should speak for itself. You can hover around an open area and cause mass destruction in a number of ways. Want to run around vaporizing or electrocuting anyone you see? You can do that. Do you want to shoot an anal probe into someone's ass and make their brain pop out of their heads? You can do that too. Or have you decided that this small town or city can fuck right off and become a big empty crater that once held a living, breathing population teeming with families and friends? Sure, go ahead. That's what I did. Coupled with a memorable main theme, characters, and its parody of 1959 America? That's what it's called? Whatever. Destroy All Humans has this strange charm to it, both in its gameplay and writing that a lot of other titles nowadays could only dream of having. There haven't been many games like it to come out recently, goes to show how unoriginal the gaming landscape is nowadays. It's also the only one that I can recall where you played as the antagonist, and despite their quest to conquer your world, I couldn't help but love Crypto and Pox. So, with how much I've been praising this game, you'd think I'm excited for the upcoming remake, right? Well, yes. Yes, I am. And despite Crypto acting like he came from the second game in the reveal trailer, even though this was supposed to be a remake of the first, it only further stoked my interest. Also helps that I like the music too. Having recently finished the original DAH, I'm a fan of the additions made to the gameplay. Being able to dash and glide looks like a great way to traverse the environment, and it gives the jetpack another use than just flying around. Or hovering in the first game. These new additions help keep the combat mobile as you're able to use your powers and weapons on the go, which is sure to come in handy when you're taking on the army, majestic agents, and those annoying fucking ass tanks. One of my favorite things to do in the original was using PK to throw people up into the air, or toss them so far into the distance that their models vanished. It's as if I erased their existence with a single push. Now that's amusing. I don't know if it's because this is pre-alpha footage, but psychokinesis seems really strong this early on. I'll withhold judgment till I see the full game. For now it still looks fun. You can also light this thing on fire and toss it at people. Nice. The destruction you can cause with the flying saucer is a wonderful sight. Explosions are beautiful and your death ray leaves marks on the ground. Speaking of the death ray, I'm personally not a big fan of its appearance or how it sounds. I'll let the footage speak for itself.
Excellent!
If your puny mind isn't catching on, I like how the beam in the original emits this red aura as you're firing. Really gives off this powerful feeling as you're shooting this baby. It sounds more destructive too. Now remember this. No matter what I say next, I'm still excited for this game. I hope it sells well. Dig this shit out from your ear yet? The game still interests me. Everyone good? Good. Barring Crypto and Pox, especially the former thanks to some nice attention to detail, what the hell happened to everyone? They look like failed test subjects from Site C that escaped containment and are now trying to blend in as people. That's not to say I don't like it, but something about this just feels off. I think I get why they went with this choice. All the humans act like cartoons? Am I even using the right fucking word? 1 second. A simple drawing showing the features of its subjects in a humorously exaggerated way. All the humans act like cartoons, so naturally you'd think to give them an appearance to match the way they behave, but I feel as if something was lost in translation. Those models didn't take a realistic approach for no reason. Sure, it was stereotyped, but they still had believable proportions. And in this case, the farmer's teeth didn't make him resemble the new nemesis.
Stars.
The original art style was juxtaposed with the human's behavior, those large automatons, and of course, Crypto and Pox, giving the game this unique atmosphere where people acted like cartoons, even though they appeared normal. This combination did wonders in enhancing the game's humor, and I'm confident that Pandemic Studios, the original developers, thought so too because they carried the same approach over to the second game. Chalk it up to limitations at the time if you want, but I surmise their choice to have been intentional. Only when the series moved into different hands did the humans start taking on a more cartoonish style. What bothers me the most is that the new aesthetic could have worked if they didn't go so overboard with the exaggerated designs. You expect me to believe this was always supposed to look like this? If that's the case, I should look like this. I'm getting the creeping suspicion that something about me has been altered, or my name is Frank West. And it's not.
Here she is!
Take the law enforcement and military that show up later. They don't look too bad. Actually, scratch that, I hate them too. But I'd rather have them than Nemesis over here. It's not like other remakes haven't come out and succeeded in recapturing the original's aesthetic. In fact, this game seems to have more in common with that Medieval remake I played recently. Only in that game's case, it managed to retain the old game's atmosphere in a number of different areas, sometimes doing it better, despite falling short in others. Another thing I'm baffled about is how they've messed with Crypto's proportions. Maybe it's because the neck is shorter, but there's something off about the way he looks. How ironic. The character that's supposed to be exaggerated is now properly proportioned, while everyone else is a walking, talking cartoon. They contrast each other in the completely wrong way when it should be the opposite. And speaking of his neck, he doesn't do that strange head tilt anymore. They've also taken out that brief moment when he's about to eat Harold's brain. Hell, brains don't even bounce anymore. But it makes me wonder just how different some scenes are gonna be. I can't imagine how this moment's gonna look.
Go to hell, Klaatu. You think I'm scared of a 3-foot space hamster?
I think you should be. Now, we can do this easy, or we can do it hard. Your choice. What do you know about a downed Furon scout ship?
A what?
Sorry, let me put it in baby talk. A flying saucer, crashed somewhere, or captured.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Of course not. What do you know about Majestic?
I know we're gonna kick your little green ass all the way back to Mars.
I'm not! These weapons, where are you making them? How many agents does Majestic have? How many other towns are you in? Son of a... Don't get mad. Get sadistic. I think this calls for the Jumbo probe. Hurts, don't it, monkey boy? You want it to stop, don't you? Then give Daddy what he needs.
Mind control experiment. Rockwell movies. Furon DNA. Area 42.
You might think I'm being too harsh, and to an extent, I'd actually agree with you. That's a first. But here's how I see it. Whenever a remake comes out, there's bound to be a jackass who'll want to know if it replaces the original. And then, almost like a virus, they'll spread their mindset to other people until more and more idiots decide that there's no point in experiencing the original release. Just look at Black Mesa. I like it, but I can't even begin to count how many times I've seen some prat comment that it replaces the first Half-Life, even more so now that the new Zen has released. Unless availability is an issue, or it was broken from the start, when old games hold up well, there's no reason for a remake or remaster to outright replace them. Especially when the industry has shown that they're quite adept at fucking something up.
I got a letter. The name on the envelope said Mary.
My wife's name. It's ridiculous. Couldn't possibly be true.
That's not to say all remasters will always end up being shit. The recent release of Devil May Cry 3 on Nintendo's small machine shows how some can add new features that weren't there in the original. But, then again, for every good port, there always has to be a lackluster one that adds absolutely nothing and only bumps up the goddamn price. Remakes are a tricky beast. You need to find a golden center that'll please both sides. Change too much, and you'll likely piss off those who love the original, and if you're too faithful, then what's the point of remaking something to begin with? Both sides have valid reasons for the things they feel. Imagine if a developer wanted to remake the first Silent Hill. How well do you think it would go over if it resembled the Resident Evil remakes? Sure, it sounds amazing on paper, but think of how much would be lost in translation. Many people love how the original Silent Hill looks. The polygonal appearance, lack of detail, and the overabundance of darkness adds to the horror in ways that a realistic approach can't. The same can be said for Destroy All Humans. The remake looks nice. It looks beautiful, I'll give it that. But it's clear something was lost in translation, and it's all the more apparent now that the humans don't contrast Crypto's exaggerated features. The original Destroy All Humans provided a special and memorable tone that was perfectly coupled with its gameplay, music, and story. To me, it's a testament of how creative games can be from a team that deserved way better than what they got in the end. At their best, games act as a gateway to new worlds and allow you to become something you normally couldn't. It's certainly an effective escape from my world. I don't doubt that Black Forest Games have good intentions, nor do I want anyone to sleep on their remake. The fact they're even doing this has earned them a bit of my respect. But no matter how 2020's Destroy All Humans will turn out, the original still deserves your time and attention. In the meantime, I have to go get dissected again. Have fun! I won't.